Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a tarantula? These fascinating creatures hold a place of intrigue, and for some, a bit of fear in the world of arachnids. With sizes ranging from as small as a fingernail to as large as a dinner plate, tarantulas are among the world's largest spiders. Their homes span across various landscapes, from the tropical rainforests of South America to the arid deserts of North Africa. They are even found in the suburban backyards of Southern California. Each tarantula has unique characteristics and behaviors, just like us humans. Now, you may have heard some spine-chilling stories about these creatures, perhaps tales of their deadly venom or their propensity to attack. Well, you'll be relieved to know that most of these are mere exaggerations. While they are not exactly cuddly pets, tarantulas are generally harmless to humans. Now that you've been introduced to these fascinating creatures, let's delve deeper into their life cycle. Our journey with a tarantula begins as a tiny egg in a silken sac. This sac, often called an egg sac or cocoon, is the cradle where the life of a tarantula commences. It's a marvel of nature, woven with precision and care by the mother tarantula herself. Inside this protective layer, hundreds of tiny eggs are nestled, each one a potential 8-legged marvel waiting to emerge. The female tarantula doesn't take this task lightly. She meticulously lays her eggs, sometimes reaching into the hundreds, within the confines of this silken nursery. It's a laborious process, one that displays the sheer determination and instinct of these captivating creatures. Yet the job doesn't end with laying the eggs. The mother tarantula plays the role of a dedicated guardian, protecting her sac from predators and environmental threats. She stands watch over her unborn offspring, ready to defend them with her life if necessary. It's a testament to the maternal instincts that tarantulas, often considered fearsome, truly possess. The period of incubation varies, but after a few weeks, the magic happens. Inside the sac, each egg undergoes a transformation. The tiny embryos within start developing, gradually taking on the form of miniature tarantulas, or as they are more commonly known, spiderlings. As the eggs hatch, a new stage of life begins for the tarantulas. From hundreds of tiny eggs, a new generation of these fascinating creatures emerges, ready to embark on their own journey of survival and growth in the wild. From the hatching eggs emerge spiderlings, the baby tarantulas. These miniature marvels are but a whisper of what they will become, small and fragile, yet filled with potential. In the spiderling stage, tarantulas are about the size of a pencil eraser. They are a mere fraction of the size they will eventually grow to, which, depending on the species, can span anywhere from 2 to 10 inches. Despite their tiny size, they already exhibit the distinct characteristics of their kind. Their 8-legged form is covered in fine hairs, and they have the same basic body structure as their adult counterparts, with a cephalothorax and an abdomen. As for behavior, spiderlings are surprisingly independent. Right from the start, they are solitary creatures, each one fending for itself. They do not rely on their mothers for nourishment or protection. Instead, they begin hunting small insects almost immediately after hatching. Spiderlings also undergo a process called molting, which is essentially their way of growing. This process is fascinating to say the least. Much like a snake sheds its skin, a tarantula will shed its entire exoskeleton, revealing a new, larger one beneath. This happens quite frequently during the spiderling stage, sometimes as often as once a month. The molting process is a delicate and vulnerable time for these tiny tarantulas. As they wriggle free from their old exoskeleton, they are soft and defenseless, needing a safe place to hide until their new exoskeleton hardens. It is during this time that they are most susceptible to predators and environmental hazards. Spiderlings are also known to grow at different rates, with factors like species, diet, and temperature playing significant roles. Some species may take a few years to reach maturity, while others might take up to 10 years. In their journey of growth, these spiderlings will molt and grow, each time getting a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. The spiderlings will continue to grow and molt until they reach maturity. And that's when the next chapter of their fascinating life story begins. Eventually, the spiderlings grow into adult tarantulas, ready to reproduce and start the cycle anew. Now, these aren't your average house spiders. Adult tarantulas can reach sizes of up to 11 inches in leg span, almost the size of a dinner plate. Their lifespan is also quite impressive, particularly for the females. While males typically live for around 7 years, females can live for up to 30 years, a considerable length of time for any arachnid. Now let's talk about the birds and the bees, or rather the tarantulas and the, well, other tarantulas. When it comes to reproduction, things get a tad complicated. Males, upon reaching maturity, will spin a small web and deposit a drop of semen on it. They then fill their pedipalps, the appendages near their mouth, with this semen. This is their equivalent of packing a lunch for a long journey, in this case the journey to find a female. The female tarantula, on the other hand, waits patiently in her burrow for a suitor to arrive. When a male does approach, he must perform a delicate dance, tapping and vibrating his legs to signal his intentions. If she's receptive, she'll allow him to insert his pedipalps and transfer the sperm, which she stores until she's ready to lay her eggs. But remember how we said it gets complicated? Well, here's the kicker. Post-coital cannibalism. Yes, you heard that right. In some cases, if the male doesn't make a swift exit after mating, the female might decide he makes for a tasty meal. It's quite the dangerous game these male tarantulas play. After mating, the female will lay anywhere from 50 to 2,000 eggs depending on the species. She'll then seal these eggs in a silk sac and guard it fervently until the spiderlings emerge about 6 to 9 weeks later. After mating, the cycle begins again, ensuring the survival of the species. What does a tarantula eat to fuel its growth and survival? That's the question we're diving into now. Tarantulas are carnivorous by nature, with their diet consisting primarily of insects. They are not picky eaters. A tarantula will feast on anything from crickets, grasshoppers, and beetles to larger prey such as small lizards or mice if the opportunity presents itself. The hunting process is a fascinating spectacle. Tarantulas do not spin webs to catch their prey like some of their spider cousins. Instead, they employ a sit-and-wait strategy. They lay in ambush, patiently waiting for an unsuspecting meal to wander too close. Then, with lightning-fast reflexes, they strike, immobilizing their prey with their powerful fangs. Now, you may be wondering, how often does a tarantula feed? Well, their eating habits are quite different from ours. Tarantulas have a slow metabolism, which allows them to go for long periods without food. A tarantula might eat a large meal, and then not need to feed again for several weeks. In fact, some species of tarantula can survive without food for up to 2 years. But don't worry, this isn't due to neglect. It's simply a survival strategy these arachnids have developed to cope with food scarcity in their natural habitats. Despite their intimidating appearance, tarantulas play a vital role in controlling pest populations. So next time you see one, remember they're doing us a favor by keeping the bug population in check. And now, the question many of you have been waiting for: how dangerous is a tarantula's bite? A question that sparked countless horror movies and campfire tales. But let's break down the myths and dive into the reality. Tarantulas, like all spiders, do indeed possess venom. They use it primarily to subdue their prey, turning their insides into a slurpable smoothie. But when it comes to humans, the effect is quite different. You see, despite their intimidating size and reputation, tarantulas are not nearly as dangerous as many people believe. The venom of a tarantula isn't potent enough to cause serious harm to a human. It's more akin to a bee sting in terms of toxicity. Some people might have an allergic reaction, but this is rare and usually not severe. The primary concern, in fact, isn't the venom at all. It's the pain. Tarantulas have large fangs, which can penetrate human skin quite easily. A bite from one of these creatures can be extremely painful, often described as akin to getting a piercing without the anesthetic. Yet this pain is temporary and will subside with time. Now, some of you may have heard tales of tarantulas causing hallucinations or paralysis. Rest assured, these are nothing more than myths. No scientific evidence supports these claims. What's fascinating is that tarantulas are often reluctant to bite. They'd much rather conserve their venom for their next meal. When threatened, they're more likely to kick off their urticating hairs, tiny barbed hairs on their abdomen that can cause itching and irritation on contact. In the grand scheme of things, tarantulas are more scared of us than we are of them. They prefer to live in peace, hunting their prey and avoiding predators. They're not out to get us. The truth is, while a tarantula bite can be painful, it's rarely life-threatening to humans. So next time you see a tarantula, remember they're not the monsters they're often made out to be. So, there you have it, the life of a tarantula from start to finish. We've journeyed from their humble beginnings as eggs, through their growth into formidable adults, and discovered their diverse diet. We've delved into the potency of their bite, and explored their intriguing shedding habits. These eight-legged wonders truly are a marvel of nature. Remember, while tarantulas may seem scary, they are an important part of our ecosystem and are fascinating creatures to study.